Welcome, welcome. What's good, you powerful, powerful spiritual people, you powerful spirits? Dr. A.J. Green Sr. here. Spiritual Awakening with yours truly. I'm so excited and delighted to be with you here on this particular day, at this particular time. Whether you're watching me live or in replay, you know exactly what to do. Tag and share. Share and tag. Tag and share. Share and tag. Let me know also if you can see and hear me well. Good evening to you, Charlotte. So glad to see you on today. Tag and share, share and tag. You can also take that same link that you're using on social media and send it through a text, via text message on your phone. So glad to see you. Great evening to you, well, therapist, Pastor Cotton. Good to see you on. Blessings to you and you and you. Let's pray. Almighty, we are so grateful for your goodness, your mercy, your endless grace and truth. We partner with you for your divine mind to be displayed in this particular moment. For these moments are not really fleeting, but they're eternal. And these moments exist on a continuum. For there are some who watch us now and some who watch us in the philosophical category of what we call later. Nevertheless, it is all now. We thank you. We praise you. We bless you for our evolution, our transformation, our ascension. We give praise to you for all of the goodness we experience. We give praise to you for all of the power we possess to persevere, to endure. And we give praise to you for all of the love that we are and that which we exude and transmit into the world. We bless you for these gifts. We bless you for this godliness. And we just praise you now. In Yeshua's name, his way, his power, his consciousness. It is so, and so it is. Love you all so dearly. Thank you for tagging and sharing and tagging. Thank you, Pastor Therapist Cotton, for letting me know that you can hear and see me well. Anyone else on Facebook, can you hear and see me well? Let me know if you can see and hear me well on today. So excited and delighted to be with you on this particular evening. And what a wonderful privilege it is for me to address you. In case I forget, make sure that at the end I have a special offer that I want to share with you concerning the new book that is going to drop in a couple of days. I'm still waiting on a few more reviews and critiques to come in from a few people that I've allowed to read it in advance. But nevertheless, it is a powerful work that I believe is going to impact many open-hearted and open-minded readers in such a deep, deep, deep way. I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the screen. The title of the book is Unshackle Your Mind, Discover and Overcome Limiting Beliefs. And of course, it comes in a package that's going to come with a mind map companion, as well as a video overview from me. All of this is going to be contained in a package for the low donation of $19.97. I'm also going to be offering some coaching later on down the line because I know people will need some assistance in implementation of the things that you read in the book. It's already been read by one person in particular who says it's loaded with knowledge and information. And so I am so excited and delighted to be sharing this with you and with the world. So I always like to remind you that you're not merely physical. You're not merely physical matter. You're not merely atoms and protons and neutrons. You're not merely molecules. You're not merely something that is measurable from a earthly, three-dimensional standpoint, but you are a spirit. You are a powerful spiritual species. You are the offspring of the Almighty. You are fearfully, which means reverently and wonderfully, magnificently made. And because you are a powerful spiritual species of what I believe to be made ultimately in the image of an omnipotent creator, you are a God class of being. Therefore, you are not powerless, you are powerful. And so I want you to type it in the comment section. I am powerful. And as you're typing it in the comment section, I want you to speak it out loud in the environment that you're in. I am powerful. Come on, it feels good to declare and decree it. Now to him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. There is power that worketh in us. That power is one with the Almighty, but that power is also us. Type it in the comment section. I am powerful. I am powerful. Own the power. As soon as you own the power, that means you're resisting powerlessness. That means you're resisting hopelessness. That means you're resisting haplessness. That means you are resisting happenstance and coincidence. That means that you are resisting victimization. As soon as you own the power, you are powerful by permission from God. You are powerful by permission of the Almighty. I am powerful. People are still coming in. People are still coming in. I am powerful. I want you to type it in the comment section. I have permission from God to be powerful. Come on, type that in the comment section for me. I have permission from God to be powerful. Somebody type that in the comment section. I have permission from God to be powerful. You are not a victim. You are powerful. You are not the tail. You are the head. You are above and you are not beneath. You are not an afterthought, but you are the first of thoughts in the mind of the Almighty, as he has given you permission to be. Yes, I have permission from God to be powerful. Thank you for owning the power. Thank you for accepting the power. Thank you for knowing the power. There are too many people who are insecure about being whom the Almighty has given them permission to be. There are too many people who have given themselves permission to be weak and not powerful. You're singing songs, and I understand the intent of the songs, but God has empowered and equipped you with abilities, and it's time for you to own who and what you are. Again, it is an honor and a privilege. That's it. As you're coming in, I am powerful, and I have permission from God to be powerful. It's time for you to own it. It's time for you to recognize it. It's time for you to flow in it. And it's time for you to know it. So honored again and privileged to be with you here on this particular day. Again, whether you're watching me live or in replay, it is indeed the honor of my life to serve you in this moment, and the honor of my life to experience this universal connection by spirit and consciousness with you, no matter where you are in the three-dimensional geographical world. I again consider my place in front of you, beaming into whatever device you're watching me on, to be a highlight of my day and a highlight of my life. Now, before we move forward, let me do a check-in with you. Let me do a check-in with you. For the original broadcast is on what we know as Hump Day, the middle of a work week. And so I want to check on you before I get into the subject matter today and see exactly how you are. So how has your week been going thus far? This is purely subjective. It is based on your interpretation of circumstances and situations in your own personal life. Therefore, we don't offer any judgment for whatever it is you say about your life. We do always offer encouragement. Don't forget to give likes and hearts. And as you see at the bottom of the screen, you can follow me on the various social media channels for more inspiration. So talk back to me in the comment section. How is your week going thus far? I have a keen interest in knowing how your week is going thus far. Somebody talk to me. How is your week going thus far? How is your week going thus far? How is your week going thus far? And then I'm going to get into the subject matter. The subject matter for the moment. How is your week going thus far? Let's see. Therapist Pastor Cotton says he's encouraged, expecting, empowered. He used 3 E's. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Who else wants to tell me how your week has been going thus far? Encouraged, he said, expecting. That's good. That means he's got hope. And empowered. So even in the midst of expecting shifts and changes, he yet feels encouraged and empowered. You notice that the expecting or the expectation, the bookends are encouraged and empowered. Very good, very good. Krista says, so far, so good. No complaints. Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share from your own personal opinion how you think things have been going thus far? And if you feel it's been challenging, say that. If you feel it's been discouraging, say that. This is a safe place to share the sentiments of your heart. Anyone else want to share how you've evaluated your week, your day? Let us know how it's going thus far. And for those who might be having some challenges, we're in agreement with you that it's going to be better. Dr. Childs says, good but challenging. Wonderful, wonderful. Good but challenging. I always love transparency. And so she summarized it by saying, yes, it's good despite challenges. And isn't it the truth that even in the midst of whatever it is we're experiencing that's unsavory to our taste buds, that is displeasurable to us, it can still be good. We can still be good. We can still be safe. We can still be secure. As a matter of fact, we live it all the time when we ride through difficult storms and situations, when storms move in to our cities and move into our regions, and sometimes tornadic activity, the thunder rolling, the wind is howling, sometimes at levels that shakes the house, shakes the very foundation that you live on. But guess what? You're still good. You're still good in the midst of a raging storm. What a blessing it is. Trina says, pushing my way through. Wonderful, Trina. Pushing my way through. Isn't that in itself also a message that sometimes we have to just push? Thank you so much for sharing with me how your week, by your own interpretation, has been going thus far. All right, we're going to pick up where we left off last spiritual awakening. We're going to be in Psalm 1 and 3, I think today, Psalm 1 and 3. And I want somebody to, my helpers, to copy and paste Psalm 1 and 3, the text, copy and paste the text for us in the comments section. We use the title, What Did You or What Did I Do? And this is part 2. This is part 2. And so I want as many of you as you can to go ahead and personalize it by typing, what did I do? What did I do? I want you to type it in the comment section. What did I do? Keep the likes and hearts coming. It has a powerful impact on the algorithm. What did I do? Let me scroll to this text in the Bible that's on my phone. What did I do? We want to personalize it. Almighty, we just thank you for your guidance and for your presence. We have ears to hear and hearts to receive. The Spirit would say to us in Yeshua's name, his way, his power, consciousness, it is so, and so it is. Here we go. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. And could you also put Psalms 1 and 2 up for us as well? This is where we started last week. Let's put Psalm 1 and 2 up for us, if you don't mind. I want to touch on that real quickly. Psalm 1 and 2. Psalm 1 and 2. All right. Psalm 1 and 2. Put that up for us real quickly. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth its fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. Looking for verse 2. Thank you so much. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. The word law here, as we briefly described to you last year, is the Hebrew word Torah. And it is more specifically honed in on the 10 commandments. But sometimes when it is used, it is not referring to the 10 commandments, it's referring to the Torah. I see the divine commandments as being for divine beings. And one day I'll tell you what I believe, who I believe these commandments are for. And you say, well, aren't they for us? But you need to know who you really are and why they have been prescribed. I just want to touch real briefly on the fact that there is no glowing description of the same man or woman in verse 3 without the initial energy and cognitive power of verse 2. Say it again. There is no dynamic man or woman mentioned in verse 3. In verse 3, hear me, family, is powerful. If you could extract the truth and essence of verse 3 and diligently and consistently apply the principle here, your accessibility to this level or this dimension of man or woman in verse 3, then you will live a triumphant life, irregardless of whatever it is that may appear to be going on in your life. But it begins with his meditative aspects, his meditative activities, the things that the man or the woman is thinking about. And as I said to you, from a metaphysical sense, a law is systems of laws that regulate. And so we know the specificity, the law here is the Torah, the Decalogue, meaning the 10 commandments. This is in a literal sense, the Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of the Bible. But I also believe that this is in reference to spiritual law and spiritual principles. I'm going to say it again, spiritual law and spiritual principles. One of the things I mentioned in the book, my latest book, is that everything runs off of a spiritual law or a spiritual principle. The material realm exists because of the immaterial realm. The natural realm exists because of the spiritual realm. We believe that the super realm, if we would say it, and I do believe in multiple versions of reality, but the super realm itself is spiritual. It is spiritual, which is our native realm, which is the place that I believe you and I are really from. And we are still operating from that dimension, although we are tethered to a soul that possesses a body. I would have you to consider that again, if a man is what he thinks on all day long, if as he thinketh in his heart, so is he, we have another confirmation of the text that says to us the ability for a man to be proliferous and prolific in productivity is based on what the man or the woman is constantly thinking or considering. Am I making any sense? I'm not on Facebook. I can't see if you're vibing with me, if I'm getting any likes or hearts. One thing I want you to understand from our presentation here is that you can't get to the juicy part in verse 3 until you first deal with the necessary activities of verse 2. And verse 2 offers us uh, genuine, genuine principles in terms of how reality creation works and the necessity for you and I to make sure that when you finish running the floor, make sure when you finish rolling the floor, make sure when you finish speaking in those wonderful tongues, make sure when you get finished experiencing that exuberance and that high, that you are thinking on things that's going to ensure that your relationship with God is rich, your relationship with yourself is rich, and your relationship with others is rich. For if you do not do these things, then you're going to find yourself in a state of not necessarily poverty as it relates to material riches, but poverty as it relates to the economy of your mind. And as I've shared with you all some time ago, I did a series on the various things that exist in terms of economics, and I talked about the economy of the mind. So we would say to you that meditate Haggah. This is something that you and I are doing day and night, intentionally or unintentionally, because we are sentient, thinking beings. So even when we are asleep, your subconscious or your spirit mind is yet awake, thinking, but your conscious mind is allegedly neutralized to not necessarily know what's going on with that part of you. But thinking is a cycle that continues all the time. So I want you to understand that when you are meditating, you can murmur in your meditations. This is part of the definition as it is used in the Old Testament. You can also imagine in your meditations. You can mourn while you're meditating. Again, we're considering the realm of thoughts and images. So everything within the spectrum of what we know as reality and within the spectrum of our experiences in this world will first be lived out, even if it's dramatic, in the theater or the space of the mind. So now, meditate also means to mutter, which means that we are now using our mouths. You can meditate by speaking. It means to roar. It means to speak. It also means to study. It means to talk, and it means to utter. So hear me, family. It is possible to be talking and meditating. Matter of fact, talking again is relevant because we are literally programming ourselves by what we say. So it starts in the realm of the cyclical thinking patterns, but it continues to be confirmed, affirmed, and reaffirmed by what we say. All of these are components, or all of these are pieces of the whole pie as it relates to meditation. I coined steps years ago, and we could easily add to the steps that I mentioned. I said meditation imagination. And remember, in meditation and imagination are glued together, they are fused together. Meditation, imagination, declaration. Declaration means what we speak, and then manifestation. Let me explain that. But again, the manifestation aspect of Psalm 1 and 3 is preceded by the cogitation or meditation aspects of the man or woman in verse 2. I want you to understand that what you see in your world is always, your outer world is always connected with what exists in your inner world. So I want you to type this in the comment section. The outer world creates, excuse me, the inner world creates the outer world. Type that in the comment section. The inner world creates the outer world. Type that in the comment section for me, family. I need to know that you're paying attention. The inner world creates the outer world. Type that in the comment section. The inner world creates the outer world. The inner world creates the outer world. Now, I don't want to get too deep and philosophical on you, but I just don't believe that there really is any difference between the inner world and the outer world. And I think by the conditioning process of the mind, along with the replete perspectives of scientists and philosophers, although scientists have shifted from previous positions as it relates to our connection to the outer world. What I want you to understand is that that which exists in your outer world is always a product of what exists in your inner world first. I want you to hear me real clearly. There is nothing, and I know this might be controversial to some of you all, even down to the mean, hateful jokers that you encounter in your outer world. It somehow, some way doesn't just come out of them, and which is true, out of them into their display of the extrinsic in terms of when they collide or encounter you, but you also solicit, in my opinion, the activities of that person based on how you see yourself and based on what you believe deeply within concerning yourself. This is why, this is why people who carry around an internal dialogue, which again is a contribution to meditation, it's a contribution to the recycling, or excuse me, the cycle of thoughts, that folk just don't like them. People just do not like me. People just do not get along with me. Hear me. If this is your meditation day and night, then this is your law. This is not the law of the divine, but hear me real clearly. Hear me real clearly. The spiritual law is as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. That is not just a verse, it is a spiritual principle and a spiritual law. So guess what? You will become, you will embody, because you have tapped into that law, you will embody the being, the person, the spirit, the personality, the persona of a person that nobody really likes. And guess what? Whether it be true or false from the perspective of the other person, you're going to always, number one, interpret that people don't like you, which means you're going to always, or I should say, consistently find yourself in situations where people appear to be saying and doing things because they don't like you. I hope I just said something here. You need to understand that your expectations many times are on display. This is why sometimes the Almighty God will surprise us, because we don't have high expectations. And when something good does happen to us by the gifting of the Almighty, we are shocked, because our past expectations have always proven to be true, in that when we don't expect to have, we don't get. Am I making any sense to anybody? Talk back to me. Talk back to me in the comment section. I can't see if you're liking it or not, but I hope that this is resonating with you. And so I ask you the question again: what did you do, or what did I do? So that man that is described in verse 3 has to first move through mental cycles in verse 2. He has to, that man or woman is living from within. That man or woman is thinking from within. That man or woman is living a reality inside. Oh, this is so powerful. Do you realize that whatever you're meditating on is your reality now inwardly? I want you to consider that you should move away from the crude, low density interpretation of what reality is. I'm going to say it again. Move away from the crude, low density interpretation of what reality is and start recognizing that thoughts are your reality. Whether you in this dimension act on it or not, thoughts are real. And you are living, as we would say, in your head and acting out sometimes these thoughts. Hear me, the body and the subconscious doesn't know the difference because, for example, if you're living out a successful life in your head, then your heart skips a beat when you prosper, or your heart skips a beat in your imaginative cycle when you're kissing or making love or on a date or enjoying a meal. Your physiology responds to you in the moment, believing that it is reality. And this is why I share with you studies again. Numerous studies have been done now with athletes, placing them in different categories. They had athletes that they assigned to in one Olympics. The study has started in Russia and has been duplicated here in the US. One group of athletes were to do full exercises. Another group of athletes were to do a partial routine of exercises. And then the last group was to just do exercises in their mind for a duration, for a period of time. And what they noticed after the study was over is that those athletes who did only partial exercises, their muscle development and growth and advancement in training, number one, was less than those who did full physical exercises. But the group that did just mental exercises saw muscle growth and performance that was almost equal to the group that did the full physical exercises. Again, why is that the case? Because your body doesn't know the difference. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference. So if you consistently in your mind, and I've tried this, if you consistently in your mind for 15 minutes a day in your mind did a workout routine, you would start experiencing a reaction from your muscles. I've done it. The muscles feel like it's worked out. The body feels like it's worked out. I'm giving you this illustration because I want you to understand that when you're thinking something, it is your reality in the moment. It is your reality in the moment. And you have a choice to act on it or not act on it. So I've got to ask you the question in terms of meditation. And when I say meditation, I don't mean taking out time 30 minutes to go zen or taking out time 30 minutes, with intention. No, I'm talking about what you're thinking about all day long. So I'm going to ask you the question today. What are you meditating on? What have you been thinking about today? So let's do this, family. We're in class. Let's do this. And let's just be brutally honest because we're family here. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, how was your meditative or thinking cycle today? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. I want you to rate how you thought today. How were your thoughts today? Talk back to me. How were your thoughts today? How were your thoughts today? I'm waiting on you to score. Give me your score. There's no embarrassment here. Just be honest. And we know that some days appear to be better than others in a meditative thinking cycle, but I'm curious. Rate yourself real quickly. Rate yourself real quickly. And I want to say something after that. Okay. We got a 6.5. All right. Who else? Who else wants to share the rating of your meditative thinking cycle today? Real quickly. I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know. Let's see. All right. We see that 3 out of 4, and then wavered a lot. All right. Awesomeness. Okay. We got another one there. Anyone else want to share? All right. Excellent. 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 Very good. Very good. So, have you noticed how the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts manifests the quality of your behavior for the day? Have you noticed that? The quality of your thoughts is directly proportional to the quality of your behavior or your performance for that day. Has anybody noticed that? So, if you're thinking depressed and discouraged, have you noticed that you tend to perform or feel like you perform at a lower level? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that if you're thinking about things that depress you or things that discourage you or things that distress you, have you noticed how your performance seems to be impacted in the moment on that particular day? Let me see something here. Let me see something here. Talk back to me. Talk back to me. I want to hear your opinions. Thank you for giving them to me. Thank you for sharing it with me. That is because, again, there's a direct correlation between the two. There's a direct correlation between the two. We can surmise, we can create a law that already, of course, we can confirm a law that already exists, that what you do, how you perform, is directly predicated on what you're thinking and what you're imagining in the moment. Did you see that? So, in my meditative thinking cycle, if I am focused on things that are frustrating, focused on things that appear by my interpretation to be out of control or out of the scope of my power, then it can impact and it will impact my performance, my energy levels, my desire to participate or not participate, my desire to do or not to do, my desire to be involved or not be involved. It is directly connected to it. Mm, mm, mm. Am I making any sense to anybody? So I want you to again catch this, because you're going to have days after you see this broadcast and you're going to find yourself again living this description, living this model that I'm sharing with you, living out this teaching. So again, before we can get to 3 in Psalms 1, we're in Psalms 1, I wanted to go back and talk a little bit more about 2, because we don't get the dynamic man or woman in 3 unless the dynamic man or woman in 3 is focused and fixated on things that bring life. The focus of the psalmist here is saying that the law, okay, his delight in the law of the Lord, day and night, is what produces a productive cycle of thinking, therefore a productive cycle of living. I want you to understand that the productivity in your personal life is directly predicated and is derived from the productivity of your mentality. So, what you live physically is based on what you're living mentally. What you live in terms of this reality that you are generated, again, it comes from in here, it comes from within. Wow. Come on, somebody ought to be giving me some likes and hearts. I can't see on Facebook. Somebody telling me right now, am I getting any likes and hearts on Facebook and YouTube? Because I can't see. I can't see. I want you to see the correlation. See the correlation between the two. And notice Notice, and some of y'all I know personally, and some of y'all have witnessed this personally. You can be dealing, for example, with death and experience some sadness. But hear me, if you allow your thoughts to continue to be positive in that moment, and if you allow yourself to see through a filter of things working out for your good in that moment, have you noticed that the sadness won't outweigh the gladness? And have you noticed that the sadness will be there, and it ought to be there, but it will not consume you or control you or troll you in the moment? You won't allow it to control or troll you in the moment. And therefore, you will manage the sadness better. You will deal with the loss a little bit better because you have allowed happiness, or the cycle that you've conditioned yourself to think, therefore, you've conditioned yourself to be. You are that you. So when that thing hits your life, it hits you in the heart, you cry and you weep, but you don't pummel, but you don't dissolve into a puddle of nothingness, or a puddle of blandness, or a puddle of forfeiture of life, or a puddle of haplessness, because you recognize in that moment, like Paul said, that when we do sorrow, we don't sorrow as those who don't have hope. Well, only the people who fit that text are people who have a hopeful mentality, which means that hope lives in their meditative cycle and is constantly recycled in terms of what they hope in, their connection with the Almighty, their connection with themselves, their belief that things are working out for the good, and their belief that they're going to navigate through this circumstance no matter what it is. Hear me, family. Hear me, family. Let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. Can I say something to you? I've said this on the air before. Some folk have been knowing me for decades. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is, I love you. Can I get one back? I want to say, I love you. Type that in the comment section. I want to say, I love you. So type that in the comment section real quickly. You give me one back. I love y'all. I love you. So let me preface my statement by saying this. I love you. I love you. All right. Let me see if I'm going to get one back from you. And then I'm going to make this statement. I love you. Thank you. I got my first one back. Now, hear me real clearly, family, when I say this to you. I am going to always, always, always empathize with people. It's just who I am. I am empathic by nature. It is not just discernment, it is my ability to connect with people on all levels, including strangers. I can be in the room and know what people are feeling and know what folks are thinking. And so as I am dealing with people, thank you for all the I love yous. As I'm dealing with people, sometimes in a professional level, or on a personal level, or in a familial level, I will empathize with them to the hilt. I will empathize with them to the maximized level, or the highest levels possible. But I will never, hear me, I will never, ever join your pity party. I will never, ever join your pity party. And I will say you should feel that way. And I will say it is understandable. Hear me. But I'm not getting ready to jump in because misery loves company. You know why? Because I know that what happens next is determined by you. And if I join your pity party, that is so pathetic and it's so sad, and you're so broken, you're just struggling, it's just this, that, and the other, we're gonna manifest more of that. I need y'all to hear me. I'm not trying to help you manifest more of that. I'm going to love you. And some of y'all know I'm a lover. So I love people to the core. I'm going to love you like crazy. I'm going to build you up like crazy, but I'm not getting ready to jump in and say how bad it is, because I know death and life is in the power of my tongue. I know I'm too powerful. I'm too powerful to be siding with that. I've done it before in my own personal life, and it produced more misery. It doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. I don't even want that in my meditative cycle. Even though it may appear that the reality I'm generating at times is unraveling slower than what I want, I do know some things I should never ever touch. There's some things I should never ever deal with. There's some stuff I should never ever mess with. And sometimes I'm talking to loved ones. When I say loved ones, I mean family, sometimes blood family in particular, or close friends, and they're saying stuff like it's absolute, like it's irreversible, like it's you can never come back for that, or like it is set in stone. I don't believe nothing in this reality is set in stone. I believe everything is changing. Ooh, did I say a word or did I say a word? So if you tell me what you don't have today, I don't believe it's permanent unless you believe it's permanent. But once these philosophical concepts, once these ideological concepts, once these theological concepts, and once these other forms of conceptualization form in our mind that contributes to a reality that I'm done if it gets past a certain point, or it's over with. If you subscribe to that, then you will not only place limitations on the Almighty, you will place limitations on yourself. And again, it becomes cemented as your core belief because you are meditating on these ideological, theological, philosophical conceptualizations every day. And you are it now. You are it now. And I'm not, hear me, family, I would never, ever, I'm getting ready to use a statement, and I would never ever belittle or or be facetious about a subject that's so serious. What I'm getting ready to say, but I'm not espousing a clinical diagnosis. I'm espousing, how can I put this? When I say a psychological diagnosis, I'm talking about, this is it. I'm talking about a consciousness diagnosis when I say this. So hear me. James said a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Double-minded, dizuki, I believe it is. It's been a while since I looked at it in the Greek. It literally means two minds. Some of us, not from a clinical sense, but in a consciousness sense, are bipolar. I've been, in a consciousness sense, bipolar. And what I mean by that is hot and cold, up and down, believe, don't believe, doubt, but then I'm willing to try. Up, down, all around. And the reason why we're seeing bipolar reactions, bipolar consequences, bipolar manifestations hitting us in the face, sometimes contradictory things hitting us in the face on a day-to-day basis, it's because your thinking is 1 and 0. Your thinking is in and out. Your thinking is up and down. Come on. How can you get how can you create anything consistently if you keep changing it? I'm going to say it again. How can you and I create anything consistently if you keep changing it? And James goes on to say, let not that man or woman think they're going to receive anything from the Lord. This Lord is not in heaven. This Lord is in you. And he's in partnership with you. So how are you going to reap? How are you going to reap empowerment? How are you going to reap the materialization and manifestation of your prayers and what you believe consistently if you'll have a bipolar mentality, a bipolar approach to life? Lord have mercy on my soul. Am I walking too heavy for you? Am I too direct with this? Hear me. One day you're excited, the next day, hear me, you're in the dumps. Family, it happens sometimes chemically. It's sometimes there's a shift in the brain. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I'm talking about the unwillingness to control what enters the meditative cycle. I'm talking about an unwillingness to practice, and I mentioned it in the book, mindfulness and metacognition in my latest book. Unwilling to just put in the effort and what we call the ergon or the energy or the work to say to that thought, you will not prosper in my head today. To say to that, you don't get in any kind of phonological loop in my brain. No, 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 no. I'm not going to let you make me hate somebody today. You're not going to drag me down and make me resentful. You are not going to cause me to be unhappy today. No, if I got to turn on some music, come on now. If I got to pick up the phone and talk to somebody who can help talk me up, hear me. Can I help y'all with something? Can I help y'all with something? Don't get angry with me because I'm talking from my experiences too. Some days we just want to be angry. Some days I'm just using the word, some days we just want to be pissed. Some days we just want to be aggravated. Some days we just don't want to feel better. Listen to me. One day, though, as you evolve, transform, and ascend, you'll get to a point where you recognize that even that thinking is unacceptable. Hear me. Hear me. I'm sitting in heavenly places. I am love itself. I don't allow resentment to control me. I don't allow lower level vibrational thoughts to control me. Hear me. I have grown and advanced to a Christ consciousness to the point that that doesn't get to interfere with how my day went because I'm going to attack it at the doorway of the mind. You can't even get in. You knock it, but I'm not going to even open. As soon as I open the peephole or look through the peephole and see it's you, you're not getting in. You don't get to run around in my mind today. You don't get to run around in my heart today. Hear what I'm saying today. And what we need to understand is that some of these reactions that put us in these meditative cyclical patterns that take us downward are derivatives of unresolved trauma that leads to forms of dysfunction which causes us to feel empowered by rage and anger and being pissed off is in your meditative cycle. It has become infused with your psyche and is now operating from a space and a place in your core beliefs. You see, I ain't looking down, ain't none of this in my notes. I just got to flow. And I want you to understand that the man in number 3 that the psalmist is bragging on and describing in these grandiloquent terms is a man who's thinking and meditating with discipline on certain precepts, certain laws that drives the man or the woman. Pastor Cotton, am I getting any likes and hearts? Chris, am I getting any likes and hearts on Facebook? Because I can't tell right now. Is this resonating with anybody? Am I making sense to you, family? I gotta shut it down. I didn't even get to verse 3 today. Let me finish up here. Let me finish up here. Let me finish up here. So the assignment again, family, is pay attention to your meditative cycle of thinking. Again, not meditation when you go in the corner, sit in a lotus position and think of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you going throughout your day, just consistently thinking about certain things. That's what I'm talking about today. That's what I'm referring to right now. I'm not referring to you meditating on abundance, you meditating on, no, I'm talking about you at work. I'm talking about you when you're driving down the street. I'm talking about you when you're by yourself in your home. I'm talking about you when you're eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and the stuff that's going through your mind. That's the you that I'm talking about. That's the experience that I want to address. That's the experience that I'm trying to deal with right now. That's the experience that I'm describing. It is a meditative cycle. Listen, if you're dealing with some chemical imbalances, find a way to balance it out, whether it's naturally or at times through prescription. Hear me, because this throws your energy centers off. This throws the transmissions that you put out into the world off. This throws your connection with the divine at times off. When you are thinking thoughts that are not conducive to who and what you are, and conducive to the thing that you're trying to accomplish or want to accomplish, and conducive to the version of yourself that you believe yourself to be, that you're designed to be, that you're acquiring to be. So if you want to see that man or woman in verse 3 that hopefully we'll get to next week, it starts with verse 2. Am I making any sense to anybody here? I'm gonna open up my phone right now. I'm gonna see if I'm getting some likes and hearts on here, because this is a sure word for me. This is a sure word for somebody else today. And I'm asking you the question: what did you or what did I do? My last point is this: Yeshua proved to us that thoughts are actions, that thoughts are reality. If I can think about a woman or whoever, and I've committed the act, that that ergon, that energy is creating a reality. And I'm going to show you that next week when we get into the word doeth, because it is a creative term from the Hebrew word asa. I will talk about it later. So hear me, family. So what you're thinking is doing something. I want you to type it in the comment section. Thinking is doing. Let me get over here to this page and see if I'm getting any likes and hearts. Thinking is doing. I don't see no likes and hearts. Thinking is doing. Type that in the comment section. You said, "Well, I didn't go slap him." Yeah, well, yeah, in that reality, in you did. Your spirit knows it's reality. The Almighty knows it's reality. You got to pull that back in. You got to control that. Because if you keep meditating on that, then you're going to send a message to your body that this is the reality we want to carry out here. And you'll have a difficult time resisting it. Mhm. The next thing I want you to type in the comment section is thinking is reality. Type that in the comment section. Thinking is reality. Type that in the comment section. Thinking is reality. Wow. Wow. That's why if you can think that you're a failure and you start seeing in your mind that you're a failure, in that moment until you shut it down, that you that you're seeing is failing. If you think that you are abandoned and left alone on a raft in the middle of an ocean by your family and friends to die, in that moment, you are on that raft alone. And if you continue to travel on that raft, you'll continue to find yourself amidst crowds of people on that raft, because you've thought it, you're imagining it, you're speaking it, and you are complicit in making it so every time you believe it, regardless of what folks around you think. It's your life, it's your thinking, it's your world. You are bringing it into being. I love y'all so much. Let me pray. Let me pray. Did this teaching bless you? Let me pray. Almighty, I just thank you right now. We are evaluating what we are doing in our thinking and with our behavior. And I just want to praise you. The new information is coming to light in our hearts. That there is such illumination right now. As I'm speaking, there's light that has been shining. I want somebody to open your heart up to a praise, open your heart up to worship right now. Come on, wherever you are, don't be a spectator, be a participant. There's illumination that's taking place right now. It's taking place right now. Sometimes the best way to absorb more of it is just to say thank you. Sometimes the best way to absorb it is say, Almighty, you got me, forgive me. I am from this moment forward going to pay more attention to my meditative cycle of thinking. And Almighty, bolster this word with confirmation after confirmation, synchronicity after synchronicity. I speak, I speak, I speak to the landmarks. I speak to the buried histories in you. I speak, yeah, to boxes of thoughts and boxes of images that have been buried deep in your in your consciousness, deep in your psyche. I speak that that chest is open and that everything in that that has brought you terror and horror and limited you and bound you and manipulated you and controlled you like it was a puppet master, that it be dissolved by the power invested in me, by the power of the Almighty, in the name of Yeshua. I declare and decree now that wholeness takes place, that that chest is empty, that that collection of experiences starts flowing out of you and purging, is purged from your life. Hallelujah. And replaced with God's divine perspective, viewpoint, and image of you. And I bless you and I praise you. It is so, and so it is. Whew, my Lord, this is so powerful. I know you've heard the text before. I just say it to you again. This is for somebody. This is not a mere recitation, regurgitation of a text to excite you. This is kairos for somebody. This is spoken with meticulous specificity, and it's aimed at somebody who's watching me right now, who is steeped and consumed in a puddle of their own tears, a puddle of their own sadness, a river created from the tears that have flown out of their eyes, that has come out of their mind, that has oozed out of their consciousness to create a pond of sadness. The word of the Lord for you is weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning light. The morning light is not an astronomical event. The morning light is the representation of the shift and the change, which is not related to any event in the stars, nor the rotation of the sun or the earth around the sun. It is merely your moment to experience escape, your moment to experience healing, your moment to experience change, your moment to experience your breakthrough, your moment to experience a radical shift in your favor. And I hear now by unction of the Spirit that a radical shift has already begun. A radical shift has already begun for you. Come on now, own it, receive it, embrace it. A radical shift has already begun for you. Do not allow your eyes to deceive you. Do not allow your senses to interpret for you. Do not allow a mind that has been conditioned with disappointment, frustration, and failure to say to you, it's not so. That is deceptive interpretations from your senses. For the carnal mind cannot perceive spiritual things. And I say to you right now, it is your moment for sunrise. It is a sunrise moment for you. This is a sunrise moment for somebody. And I'm saying to you, even if you're experiencing weepiness in your heart and it is indescribable to you, I'm saying to you, sunlight moments, the beam, the photon, the light from the depths of God, from the depths of love that brings all that you need in every portion of your being is taking place right now. And the joy of living is about to return to somebody. The joy of life is about to express itself. The joy of life is about to model itself before you. The joy of life is knocking on the door of your heart. The joy of living that somebody lost a long time ago, the joy of relationships, the joy of a bountiful career, the joy of success, the joy of a better relationship with family, the joy of self-love and improved self-concept. Hear me, family. That joy, that morning moment is here. That morning moment is here. That morning momentous moment is here. And the only thing you got to do in this moment is say, Almighty God, it's mine. Almighty God, I receive it. Almighty, I own it. And say to yourself, self, I receive this. I own this. I live this. I am the joy that has been granted and given by the Almighty. And I receive it now. Ooh, my. I sense this so strong. This spiritual astronomical shift in the morning, tiptoeing through the illumination of the sun on a trackless plain in a night darker than 10,000 midnights has shown up today in your life. And I hear the Almighty saying, receive that your money has changed. Receive that everything confusing has changed. Receive that everything that is trying to condemn you and destroy you is being moved. The clouds are rolling out, and there's a fresh wind blowing. There's a fresh wind manifesting in your heart right now. The only thing that's necessary is for you to receive it. And I thank you that it is so. And so it is. Listen, this is a night of sowing. This is a night of giving. I sense it. I want you to take the time to use the giving opportunities at the bottom of the screen. There's a joy that just leapt in somebody's heart. And I'm telling you now, open yourself up by faith to the law of reciprocity, to the law of the spirit of life. This is a moment now. I just sense it so strongly. We don't buy nothing from God, but our faith and our love is what prompts us to release, and we give and we receive. My God, I'm going to release you in just a few minutes. Oh my goodness. It's sowing time. It's giving time. I got to get off film a little bit over time. I am over time. I am over time. I am over time. I am over time. 7:30 Eastern time. That's my cousin Chantel. 7:30 Eastern time. Go back if you don't mind, Chantel, and watch the replay. I believe it's going to bless you. Oh my God, I sense the Spirit of God. I sense such a presence here, 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 such a presence here. I'm going to release you in just a few minutes, but those who've been on, tell me, tell me how this word, this teaching impacted you tonight real quickly, and tell me what you're going to do with this teaching. That's more importantly, how it impacted you and what are you going to do with what you heard tonight. I know it was loaded, but what are you going to do with it tonight? I want you to type in the comment section, though, right quick. It's my morning moment. Mm, mm, mm. Come on, type it in the comment section. It's my morning moment. Oh, my. Come on, type it in the comment section. It's my morning moment. It's my morning moment. I'm telling you, I sense this so strong. And matter of fact, by permission of the Almighty, I thank you and declare and decree that this morning moment for the weeping, it did endure, but for a night seasons. But the joy cometh in the morning light. This is the morning moment. I'm telling you right now, even within the next solar day, some of you all in this dimension are going to experience your morning moment, your morning light, your morning moment, your morning light. Mm, mm, mm. My God, believe the Lord your God, so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, and so shall you prosper. I see money raining, descending like rain. That's what I see right now. Descending like rain. I see hearts beating from excitement, hearts beating from joy, hearts beating, mm, 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 hearts beating from miracles. Glory. Hallelujah. Am I the only one who senses this? And some of you all, you won't be able to give tonight. It's good. As the days go by, the next day and the day after, sow and give. Come back and remember. I do it all the time with broadcasts I'm watching. This is a morning light moment. This is a morning light moment. Let's retype that again. Type this time, a morning light moment. Come on, type that in the comment section. A morning light moment. Y'all know I just do an hour, but I got to go. But this is on me so strong. Type in the comment section. A morning light moment. A morning light moment. Thank you. That's MORNING. That's what it is. That's what it is. In the morning light moment, you can sense it from within you because it is in you, waiting to emerge, ready to emerge. It is a morning light moment. Ooh, a morning light moment, family. A morning light moment. Come on, I want you to confess it now out loud, family. I got to get off here, but I need you to activate this. I need to make sure that this is activated in you. So when I go offline, it's activated in you. That means it's operating in you, which means it's going to be operating in the universe. I want you to speak out loud with faith, in sincere intention, at least 3 times with me. We're going to do it 7. Okay, I like 7. Don't matter. We can just say it once. We can think it, but hey, let's just do 7 times for the sake of people. All right. We're going to speak out loud. It's my morning light moment. And I'm speaking to myself too, because you all know I'm going to share my testimonies, as you should share yours, as you have done down through the years. But I want you to speak out now, wherever you are. We're going to do it together on the count of 3. And I'm going to say go. And we're going to 7 times declare and decree. Because we get to decree a thing and it's established unto us. The light shines on our ways. 1, 2, 3, go. It's my morning light moment. It's my morning light moment. It's my, with feeling, morning light moment. See it in your mind. It's my morning light moment. Oh my God. It's my morning light moment. See bills being paid. It's my morning light moment. See bodies being healed, your body. And last but not least, it's my morning light moment. And whatever the morning light is to you is what it is. It is so, and so it is. Wow. I got to get off here, but I got to make one last announcement before I go. My book is dropping in a couple of days. And let me find something. I want to make a special announcement for you all. This is, let me see if it's still in here. I don't even know if it's still in here. It's not available to all of everybody who's going to see this. But the first thing I want to say is that my book, Unshackling Your Mind, Discover and Overcome Limiting Beliefs, is going to be released in a couple of days. I have a special discount code for you, but you're going to have to be on my mailing list, because I'm going to release it on my mailing list in a couple of days. It's been edited. I got a couple of people I want to review it, and I'm going to use some of their reviews in different places to help promote the book. That's the only reason you don't have it today. And then I have to set up some other mechanisms that when we put it out, TikTok and in other places in my link tree, it'll do what it's supposed to do. But you're going to have to be on the mailing list, and you can get on the mailing list right now. If you scan this code, scan it, follow the instructions, it'll add you to the mailing list. And the day that I am ready to release it, you will get that code. Don't share it with anybody. It's your code. All right. And it's going to give you 15% off. Now, this is a package. This is not just a book. This is a book that's got a mind map with it. It's got a mind map companion, which explains in more detail what the mind map is. And last but not least, it comes with a 30-minute video overview. The video overview is worth $30, $40, $50 by itself in these other packages. The whole package is $19.97. You're going to get 15% off that. But this is going out to the world by the beginning of next week. I have a more responsive audience in other places on social media, and that's why I will be talking about it. And I have other audiences that are expanded consciousness, people who love the content that's in this book. So this is a book that's loaded with information. It's not a religious book. I'm telling you now, it's a spiritual book. When I say spiritual, it's related to spiritual principles, not religion. But you're going to enjoy it because it's going to help you identify. It's going to help you identify limiting beliefs. Let me give you a snippet, a preview of a calming attraction. Do you know that when you say, and I got this from a dear loved one who was reviewing a chapter with me, and she brought up how being real, keeping it real, being realistic. Do you realize that when you say I'm being realistic, that's really a limiting belief? That is resistance. And I talk about resistance in this book on limiting beliefs. Did you know that? And I give an illustration of 2 different people who, quote unquote, have a realistic belief about their situation and how their outcomes always line up with what they consider to be realistic. Realistic is subjective, family. It is subjective to you, subjective to your interpretation and definition. What's realistic to you is not necessarily realistic to me. But most of what we call realistic is resistance, and it limits us. Just a little snippet of what you're going to come across in the book, what you're going to encounter in the book. All right. Join the mailing list. I'm going to send you that coupon. And guess what? Guess what? I ain't going to lie. I'm expecting all my supporters on this little channel here to buy it. Yes, I am. This package, because that's what it is. You get those 3 bonuses with it. Those 3 things I mentioned are bonuses worth over $100 by themselves. So this is happening in a couple of days. And then I'm asking you to help me by putting it on your page, by reviewing it, to share it with people everywhere. Again, this is not a religious book, so people cannot believe in God or believe in God, and they will be empowered by this book. It is loaded, family, with information. I'm not just talking about theory, but the last chapter itself is devoted to tips and techniques. There's like 13 different tips and techniques. And then it explains to you how to use those tips and techniques to overcome limiting beliefs. But the whole chapter is like a course in a master class. I had a friend who's reviewing it for me now, and he said to me, Anthony, just today, he said, Anthony, you should consider doing a TED talk on the tips and techniques by itself. And he said, have you ever considered a TED talk? And I kind of laughed and said, it came to my mind and it left real quickly because I don't even know how to make a TED talk happen. But this is how much he thought about the book. So I'm saying to you, it's going to empower, I believe, whoever's open to it to receive and apply the principles in your personal life. All right, y'all good? Don't forget to sow and give while the presence is stirring in you tonight. I just sense that there's some people who are supposed to do that. I don't always emphasize it. But this moment, I am sensing that a release is here. The morning light moment is already here. What's Chantel saying? Prophetess Chantel, she said, didn't I mention a TED Talk to you as well? I'm not sure, Chantel, if you mentioned that to me or not about a TED Talk. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it seemed like you did say you saw me speaking one time before thousands of people. I'm not sure if you said TED Talk or not. I'll have to gather my thoughts. I have to gather my thoughts. You know, you've told me so many powerful, dynamic, and wonderful things down throughout the years. All right. Love you so dearly. I'm going to release you. I'm going to release you with the shalom blessing. All right. Love you so dearly. And your night is great. Your week is great. And I'm expecting morning like moments in your life. Shalom, shalom, peace, wholeness, prosperity, nothing missing and nothing broken. It is so, and so it is. Love y'all. Enjoy your day.